Hi all, in this video I'm going to show you about what are the modes in Cisco IOS. Let's get into the video. First, what are the modes and how does they appear? Modes, there are near to 6 modes in the Cisco IOS. What are they? User mode, privilege mode, global configuration mode, interface configuration mode, and sub-interface and line interface configuration mode. These are the mode names. And how does they appear? Usually the user mode will be with the greater than symbol. If you could see this symbol, then you are in the user mode. Next, the privilege mode or a enable mode. This is how it will look like. It will be with a asterisk symbol over here, and then the global configuration mode, which is normally can be seen as in the config command, and then the interface configuration mode. When you enter into the interface, then it will be showing as like this, and the sub interface configuration mode. Interface and sub interface both will look similar in the manner. Next is the line interface configuration mode. We will look into each of the configuration modes upcoming slides. First, user mode. What is a user mode? User mode is the initial mode. User mode has very limited access to the device. First, you have a full access, or do you want to check in more deeper into the what is the issue or what are the configuration? You need to enter into the privilege mode. So in order to enter into the privilege mode, you just want to type enable, so it can enter into the privilege mode, which is also known as the enable mode. In order to go back to the user mode, you just want to type as disable. That's it. It has very limited access to the device. User mode. Next is the privilege mode. What is a privilege mode? In this mode, we have gained more access to the device. Most of the people will have a full access to the device itself. Okay, what are the things that can be done over here? In this mode, we can't edit, but we can read a full configuration of the files. What are the things that can be seen? Over here is some of the basic commands I have shown here, like the show IP interface brief, show interface, and show histories. These are all the things which I had, and some of the configuration change, that is, and what are the basic level configuration, and that has been mandatory, can be done in this mode itself. For example, I have mentioned here, you can see here, terminal history size 25 and a clock set. This too can be done. What does that mean? This is what you have to set your clock and the time. That can be set in this mode itself. This is what in this mode you have to set the clock, and this is the format. You need to set clock, set, and the date, time, date, and a year. This is the format that you have to set in order to set up the time and the date in the Cisco routers and switches. While in case of what is this command refers to, in the sense, you can use the show history command. Normally, if you type a show history, it will show you what are the commands that you have before used. It can store up to a maximum of 10 by default, but you can change it. Here, this is the command terminal history size 25. If you change this to 25, you can see up to 25 commands, the last used 25 commands from now. This is what these are all some of the commands that can be used in privilege mode itself. What is the command which I have given in the earlier means? Show IP interface brief. What does it mean? It will give you the status of the interface, and a show history, as I said earlier, it will gives about details what are the commands that I have entered before. This is what a show history will tell you, and a show interface serial 0/0, whichever interface you can just give it. It will tell us what type of interface and what is the configuration characteristics, like in the sense whether it has been using a HDLC or point-to-point, or it is a duplex mode, or what is the speed of the interface. It's 100 Mbps or 1 gig or 10 Mbps, whatever be. This basic setup can be seen in the show interface serial 0/0 show interface command. And if you want to check how many before the router has been on, this is what the uptime of the router. This can be checked by using show version. And what this command also show version also tells us that what is the model of the router or model of the switch or model of the product that has been using. This is what we can check in the privilege mode. Next, going back to the global configuration mode. This is the mode where we will start the configuration. This is mode where we need to do some of the basic configuration. That is a next level of configuration, which this is somewhat is said to be as the editing mode. This mode, and if you need to check any of the configuration as said in the earlier, if you want to check show interface serial 0/0 or show IP interface brief, whatever you want to check, you can't check in this mode. If you type show interface fastness 0/0, whatever be the interface, it will be showing like this error, which means this mode cannot be, there is some issue with the point over here. This is what it will be showing. So if you are not in the privilege mode or if you are not in the privilege mode or enable mode, if you need to check any of the configuration, then you need to put do in front of the command, do show interface fast within 0/0, whichever the mode you are in, even in global configuration or sub interface or interface line, whichever the mode you are, you have to put in before do whatever the command you are putting into the show command. This will show you what is the requirement of the command. This is what a global configuration mode deals with. Next we move on to the interface and sub interface mode. These two modes look similar with the same commands, which see a configuration if and configuration if. What is this difference between them is, if you put this as an interface, if you want to configure any particular interface, here I am giving a serial interface 0/0. If you want to get an IP address and what type of encapsulation task to use, whatever be the thing that you are been using, you just want to type it directly over here and you can just configure it. Suppose if you don't want a main interface to be configured, you need a sub interface to be configured, then this is the place where the sub interface configuration mode takes place. You need to enter this and then you need to type interface serial 0/0.10, and you don't even if you have already configured or whatever you have done, you don't even need to type the main interface. You can directly type in the global configuration mode as interface serial 0/0.10. It will directly go into the sub interface mode. That's it about this. Then the line configuration mode. What is the line configuration mode? How to enter and what does it do? In this mode we can configure console remote session like their characteristics. Normally we have to enter over here is line VTY. This is one sample, but line console configuration also we can do. This is what a telnet configuration, line VTY 0/4, which means that from 0 to 4 up to 5 sessions it can be enabled. 0 is the starting point, 4 is the ending point, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to 5 users can be connected over here. This is what it deals with. V2I is nothing but a virtual interface, that is a remote session, a telnet or SSH, whatever you are enabling, from where you are reaching, from which mode you have reaching. This is what V2I deals with, telnet or SSH. By default it will enable telnet. If you want, you can enable SSH also. Which all the things that can be configured over here means what type of password you need to use. It is a SSH, there is a username and password you want to use, or just a password you need to use, whatever be, and what is the time period. If you are using a console, it should be expired within 1 minute. If you are using a remote session, then it should be expired within 3 minutes. What are the time period we have to use? SSH or telnet should be used, and how many sessions should be allowed. This is what I explained over here. It is 0 to 4 up to maximum 5 sections it can be used. This and all can be configured in the line configuration mode. Next, about what are the common characteristics of this IOS. Some shortcuts like this. Okay, if you are typing any example, take it as show IP interface brief. You can just type sh and tab. It will take into the show, show. Show. The tab command, it will get autocomplete format. It gets autocomplete of a command. That's what the tab command helps you. Then control A, that is if you press control and A, it brings the cursor to the beginning of a line. If you are typing show IP interface brief, if you are typing is that in the some other modes as interface mode or sub interface mode, whichever mode, if you are typing show IP interface brief, we can just type control A. It will brings it to the beginning of a line, and then you can type as a do. Instead of moving from left arrow go and then just typing it, you can just use control A and just go to the beginning of a line and type as do, and you can just enter the configuration. And then control E, which brings the cursor to the end of a line. It's control A brings to the beginning, and a control A begins to the end of the line. And a control W, this is what it deletes the previous word of the cursor. And then the control shift 6, if you are pinging a packet or if you are doing a trace route, you can just cancel it by using control shift 6. And then control C, which breaks the command, or it just moves back to the configuration mode. This two process control C takes care of it. And a control Z, it ends the configuration mode. And a write and a copy running config startup config. These two commands behaves the same manner. These two are both to save the configuration. Whatever the configuration you are done, write or copy running config startup config, you need to save the configuration. copy running config startup config, in the sense initially whatever you are doing, it will be saved in the running configuration. You need to save this configuration or move this configuration to the startup config, so that when you reboot the router, the configuration that you have done will not be erased. So this is what a startup config, or simply you can just do as write, it will save the configuration. That's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time.